Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. As the Devils drop Game 1 to the Carolina Hurricanes today, losing 4-1. Lots to talk about. Scotty is on assignment right now. He is in the Rocky Mountains somewhere. He does not have any kind of signal. The DeLorean that he's traveling in, it's going to take him forever to get out of Colorado. So I'm flying solo with you today. Devils, Hurricanes, playoffs, Game 1. Well, a lot of you Devils fans are probably pissed off right now, including me. Because in the first two periods, your New Jersey Devils did not show up, except for maybe Jacob Markstrom. No intensity, no fire, no conviction. They nonchalantly entered the game, stepped on the ice as if this was some throwaway game in preseason. They looked gassed in the first two periods. They looked awful. They couldn't even get a shot on goal. And we'll talk about that shortly. Let's just go over the game recap. What happened? Well, right from the get-go, 2 minutes and 24 seconds in, Carolina gets a goal. Jalen Chatfield with his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Robinson and Roslovic. 1-0 Canes. Now, the Devils could have reviewed it because there was some interference with Markstrom on that play, but judging by the replay, it looked like a good goal. I don't think the Devils could have had that overturned. It was too early in the game to be challenging. And I just didn't think there was enough conclusive evidence, of that. But right from the get-go, first 10 minutes, the crowd's going wild. Canes have a 1-0 lead, and the Devils just seemed like they were 2 strides behind on every sequence of the game. They were outshot, and they were outshot badly in the first 2 periods. Like bad. I don't have the shots on goal total in front of me because the internet's not working. It's just, right now, it's just circling. But yeah, Devils got outshot badly in this game. But at one point, I think in the first period, they only, what were they, outshot, 13-2? Obviously, the Devils didn't show up. And Michael Descala says, I love Nick Villano from Pucks and Pitchforks, but comparing the Canes' first period to the Devils' third, saying that it's going to be a fun series so far off base, no effort at all. But there was hardly any urgency, and that's concerning. They just nonchalantly started the game like it was some throwaway game in preseason. But not the Carolina Hurricanes. You knew that they were well coached. You knew that they were going to show up. You knew that they were going to forecheck. You knew that they were going to put pucks on the net. And they're not screwing around. And that's the difference between an experienced playoff team like the Carolina Hurricanes and your New Jersey Devils, although you got some veterans on this squad that have won cups like Palat and Dumoulin. Guys that have been there, done that in the playoffs, like Dylan and Pesci. But boy, the Devils just weren't even in sync. They couldn't kill them with their speed. They just looked god-awful. So, Hurricanes won the period with a 1-0 lead, ending the first period. Second period, again, Devils did not show up. Stankoven gets his first goal of the playoffs 6 minutes in, assisted by Martinuk and Slavin. 2-0 Hurricanes. Then Carolina goes on the power play. Again, Stankoven, second goal of the game, second of the playoffs, a power play goal assisted by Hall and Conveni. And then it's like you're down 3-0. You're getting outshot. You're just getting decimated. But Nico Hischier gave some life towards the end of the second period with a beautiful shot past Anderson. Assist goes to Brett and Pesci. 18:51 of the second period. Devils down 3-1. Now, they went in the locker room, talked it over. Sheldon Keefe making adjustments. But now the injuries are starting to pile up. Somewhere, Dylan got hurt. Then in the third period, on one sequence, you got a 2-for-1. Luke Hughes getting hurt. Cody Glass getting hurt. Devils playing with 4 defensemen on the blue line. But the Devils kept on trucking, and they had their chances in the third period. The Devils had their chances in the third period. But they came up short. Timo Meier had a glorious chance. Frederik Andersen, stick save. And I think that's where the momentum could have shifted, but Timo Meier didn't finish. And then eventually, the Hurricanes put in an empty netter, making it 4-1 Hurricanes, taking game one. Shots on goal. Carolina had 45 shots on goal. Devils had 24, most of them coming in the third period. Block shots. Carolina had 16. Devils 13. Hits. Devils actually out-hit the Hurricanes 52-41. But again, the Hurricanes were in full control of this game. Face-offs, Devils had the edge 40-26. Power play, I told you about special teams, is going to be huge for the Devils if they are to compete with the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils 0-for-2 on the power play. Canes 1-for-3 on the power play. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts as everyone's filing in on the YouTube Live, Facebook Live? What are your thoughts on the game? It kind of reminded me of the series against the New York Rangers a couple years ago. Those first two games, I remember the Ranger fans were cheering at the Rock. They're saying, bye-bye, bye-bye, thinking that they had the series because the Devils simply didn't show up. They simply didn't show up. Lack of intensity. We talk about beefalytics. Where is that Devils team in the first 3 months of the season? Where's that passion? Where's that urgency? Where's that toughness? Where did it go? If anybody can find that team, I'd like to know. But Jacob Markstrom had the intensity. Heck, He chopped his own player by accident, Cody Glass. I hope he's okay. Jacob Schroed, team softness is very sad. Way too much money to be moping around the ice like a bunch of wet mops. Wimpy says different vibes. Judas says Devils are poorly built. Look, I don't want to hear any excuses about Jack Hughes being injured. This team on paper is good enough to compete against the Carolina Hurricanes. But with Rod Brindamore as coach, you better come prepared, and you better come prepared to work. First 2 periods, awful. Unwatchable hockey. Absolutely unwatchable. Third period, acceptable, but a little too late. More should have been done, but maybe it's something the Devils can build on. Wimpy says Jack wouldn't have made a difference today. No, he definitely wouldn't have. And it's still a problem. Tom's right. Lindy was him. Travis Green was him. Now Keefe is the problem. Still, please. The problem is in that locker room. They all have to be leaders at this point. They all have to lead by example. It's just not one player. These teams are too good in these playoffs to just have one player just take over. You've got the goaltending. This could have been a 9-0 ass whooping today if it wasn't for Markstrom in net. It could have been bad. It could have been very, very beyond laughable. But Markstrom kept them in the game, but the Devils couldn't finish. They could have stolen one, but again, they wasted everyone's time in the first 38 minutes of this game. But remember one thing. It's the best of 7 for a reason. That's just one game. You got to put it behind you. And if I were the New Jersey Devils right now, I'd be pissed. I'd be embarrassed. If this was a real team, you probably can't even look at yourself in the mirror because how poorly you played in those first 2 periods. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. The Carolina Hurricanes dictated this game from the start. Their fans were in it. You knew that the first 10 minutes was crucial, but you didn't step up to the challenge. You didn't step up and try to neutralize all the emotions of a Stanley Cup playoff game. The first one of the series. And why Davey's right. Turnovers. Lost puck battles along the boards and in the corners. You got to establish territorial position. Thank you for the super chat, Wimpy. He says the Canes could have beaten us with Louis Anderson today. Louis Anderson, the comedian. Paul C. says, feel like we got a bunch of overpaid bums on our team. Forget about the overpaid. They just look lost out there. Definitely not Timo's fault, says, oh my goodness. Just seeing that as a turning point. but they got to turn it around in a hurry for game 2. The thing is with the Devils, they have no room for error. However, the Canes are beatable. They are definitely beatable. But you got to put the puck on net. You got to work the goaltender. You got to harass the opposition. Your forecheck was virtually useless tonight. And you got to play pissed off. And I hope Sheldon Keefe rips him a new one in the locker room, because there's really nothing positive to build on other than that third period. But even that third period, the game was lost at that point. And maybe the Canes were sleeping a little bit, but that's where you got to take advantage. AJ Visco hate the ESPN broadcast. They were on Carolinas. Yeah, I got the privilege of listening to both. I went back to the MSG broadcast. Obviously, Bill Spaulding is definitely easier on the ears than some of these ESPN announcers. But that's just my opinion, of course. Tom says first 25, 30 games of the year, we hit everything that moved. Led the league in fighting. Haven't seen that in 4.5 months. No snarl. No beefalytics. Playoffs is about beef. I ate plenty of it for Easter dinner, but didn't see any of that during this game. And which Devils team is actually going to show up? Andre, is it possible to get a TV reimbursed after this performance? I'm assuming you threw your TV out of the window. That's how I felt. Don't blame you. You see those viral videos. It's gotten really over the top recently with these viral videos of fans artificially pissed off during the Super Bowl, and suddenly they're breaking the TV in front of a party of like 30 people, their friends and family. Judas says, Fitzy has one job this offseason, get playoff-style guys. He did that. And that seems to be the problem. And I've been saying it all along, and I've been saying this for a while. The same problem exists with different people. This problem even existed under the late Ray Shero. The problem exists now, whether it's John Hines, Lindy Ruff, Travis Green, and now Sheldon Keefe. I think these players, they're being coddled too much. And I think it starts from the top. That's what I think. They got to lock these players in hotel rooms, and it's either win or you're out. You got to have that Neanderthal mindset right now. That's why we have playoff beards. You got to keep it simple. You got to get rid of all of the distractions around this team. You got to have one focus. That one focus is win. You're going to go in and hit. You're going to go in and block shots. You're going to go in and protect your goaltender. You're going to go in and play smart, simple, crisp passes. Dictate the pace of the game. Put the opponent on their heels. by constant, relentless pressure. But they didn't do that. They did not do that. And they played catch-up for the entire game. Right when the puck was dropped, it was catch-up, catch-up, catch-up. And I'm not saying these guys aren't tough. We all know they have it. But why? Why does it keep on happening? Where there is this loser culture that still lingers. I mean, and what I mean by that is there's just simply no urgency. You can't tell me that their players left it all on the line today. They didn't. They showed up in the third period, and it was adequate for a playoff game. But they got to be better than that. But it's just one game. And I'm not going to spin it any other way. It's just one game. But sooner or later, if they don't figure things out in a hurry, it's going to be 4 games and the Devils are out. Tom says our leaders aren't Brady, Matthew, Jack Eichel, Ovi, Crosby. No, they're not. It's Nico Hischier. He got that one goal, but he can't do it all himself. Wimpy's conspiracy theory is it was 420 was their pregame, LOL. I'm not sure about that, but also, where the hell was Palat? Seemed like he was overwhelmed as well. Baked like Miss Fields, says Wimpy. Very nice. Very nice. But I don't even know what to tell you, folks. It was bad. It was really bad. And I'll be honest with you, if they show up like that game 2, games 3 and 4, I mean, you better not show up like that in front of the fans. I'm telling you that right now. There are guys that were brought in here for the playoffs. They're not really showing it right now. But put the puck on the net. Just drive the opposition crazy to find the puck. They know where the puck is when you keep on passing around. Put the puck on net and make them figure it out where the puck is. Whether they block it, whether the goalie saves it, whether it goes wide. Keep it moving. Because the Devils looked like molasses in the first 2 periods. Slow, lethargic, no passion. You got to play 60 minutes of hockey. The Devils only did about maybe 18 minutes. And that was pathetic. I agree with you, Tom. It's on the players. It's in that room. Who's going to step up? Who is going to step up for your New Jersey Devils? And NY Davies correct, and I said this earlier on the podcast. Same thing happened 2 years ago against the New York Rangers. But if you want to go far into the playoffs, you got to take care of business early. You got to get through these first rounds. Sean says it's early, but a sweep could be what they need. The team is way too content being subpar. Need a serious wake-up call that this effort is not enough. Maybe Sheldon Keefe is not the right coach. Maybe he is. He's got to hold them accountable. Got to hold these players accountable. Now with some of the injuries coming in, I don't have the latest right now, but with Dylan possibly being out, Cody Glass being out, next man up, you got to step it up. There are no excuses for this team. This team was supposed to be built for these moments. Where is the muscle? Where is the beef? And you know what's most importantly, stick it up for your teammates, for crying out loud. You can't be just pushing and shoving. You got to send a message to the opposition. I agree with you, NY Davey. Keefe is a good coach, but you can only do so much. It's up to the players to decide if they're going to go out there and kick some ass. But they're not doing that right now. No intensity. I think there's more intensity on this podcast right now than there was on the ice tonight. You should be fired up. This is your shot to win the Stanley Cup. It starts with game 1 in Carolina. First 2 periods, you don't show up. Third period, you got to catch up. Try to win this game. They could have made it 3-2, but they didn't. Now you got to go back to the drawing board and quickly make adjustments because Tuesday will come here really, really fast. Less than 48 hours, puck drop at Raleigh, North Carolina. Tom's giving some too much info in the YouTube live right now. But the Devils, they need to do better. And they need to refocus, recalibrate. And I'm confident that they could do that. I'm not all doom and gloom, but what sucks about trying to cover this team is you don't know which team is going to show up. And maybe they should start mixing, matching, messing with the lineup. Send a message. If you're not going to hit, if you're not going to block shots, if you're not going to defend your teammate, if you're not going to give it 120%, get out of the way. We'll put somebody else that would. That's what I'm hoping. Some of you guys saying put Lazar in. At this point, I want McDermott in. At least he freaking cares. Frustrating. Again, frustrating. Devils losing 4-1. Dev fan Josh says, I'm sitting here wondering where the heavier, edgier, more violent that was promised is. Yeah, I mean, I thought we were supposed to get players that were, I don't know, what did Tom Fitzgerald say, like jerks or dickheads or whatever he said? But that's what I want. I want them to be that guy. Not to ourselves, but to the opposition. But if you're going to do it to yourselves, hold your own players and teammates accountable. This is ridiculous. I agree with you, Wimpy. At least the Mets won today. But I don't want to talk about baseball. It's still hockey season to me. There's still a lot of hockey left. But let's hope they can get it together and figure it out and start turning up the intensity, or else you're going to be out a week from now. Let's hope that the Devils will figure it out and take action. Keep it one shift at a time and try to get back into this series. You got to beat these jerks. That's right, Corbin. And I'm not sold on Carolina, by the way. Because Carolina shows up by default. If you don't show up, they will win. But if you show up against Carolina, you've got a chance. Freddie Anderson is not a god in net. You can beat him, but you got to put shots on goal. And you got to get high danger chances. You got to get high quality shots on goal. And that's all I really have to say. Carolina is very beatable. Yes, NY Davy. They are very beatable. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Well, want to wish everybody, again, a happy Easter, happy belated Passover, and a happy 420 today to those that celebrate. At least Luke Hughes is fine. Yes, select a boy. Agreed. All right, I'm going to hit the music. But we'll be back on Tuesday. Viewing party at American Whiskey, I believe. We'll have more information on our socials. I know Scotty will be back in Jersey tomorrow. Devils losing 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. Down 1-0 in the series. Keep your head up, everybody. Till next time, let's go Devils.